Really am gonna make this quick because there's really not much to say. Um, Apart from, yeah, none of this is normal. Um, I just don't understand how, you know, my partner can take, and he tells me he is my partner, take a caring role through care for the carers, and then I have nothing but mental, physical abuse, crimes against humanity, crimes against my free speech, uh, crimes against humanity, my free speech, physical and mental abuse and sexual assault, and that's just by the police. That alone is just by the police. Um, and like I say all the time, the guy that took me my food today, I said to him, I said, rape was nothing. Rape was nothing compared to what the police have done to me. I did paid care work over 20 years ago. My life was easy, laid back. And I worked hard as a carer. And I worked hard, as I do to this very day, at being a caring person. And yet, I've never in my life had anyone ever lie to me before, as far as I'm aware, anyway. There might have been people lie to me all my life, and I may not be aware of it. But the lies that I have exposed and called out, and the more I've obviously this is a spiritual warfare, and this is how it is. That's that we're living in the end times. This is how it's supposed to be. I've never, ever, ever had anyone lie to me before. And all of us, as like I said, as far as I'm aware, throughout my 44 years on this earth, as far as I'm aware, no one's ever lied to me. And all of a sudden, I've had lawyers, more than one lawyer lie to me, more than one GP, and the entire Lib Dem office with their fake smiles. And this is all since I've been in a relationship with Darren and since I've been living in Eastbourne. Um, I dealt with rape. I put someone in prison for very serious. They call it indecent assault, and I won't use the other definitions because it's too graphic. But I went to the rape victim centre and I put someone in prison for 2 years and 10 years on a sex offenders register. I didn't get any help with that, but the very thing that I've been put on PIP for is the very thing that has been very badly abused. Leslie and Ray, who said that they diagnosed the OCD clutter. The Oh, and as for that very, very, very poorly, someone with a low IQ has um, put up. I knew, by the way, to Susie in Lancashire. I know I said in the email, I said I wouldn't say which hotel I was staying in, but I decided to say which hotel it was. And because I mentioned TripAdvisor, it was inevitable that a useful idiot out there would put up a review. The good thing is that the two appalling reviews, I mean, the two reviews that I reported, the false advertising reviews by those two disgusting members of staff, they've been removed. So that's quite amusing. Yeah, those two excellent reviews with the false advertising by Alex and Walid. They've both. That's the perverted one who made those comments about sex and um, the guy that saying that the guy that touched my bottom, well, he felt something. So yeah, no, those two reviews have been removed. Don't be fooled by the smiles. But as for that mocking review, obviously impersonating me, because I've got a whole load of bin bags over there, and the host of this B&B has very kindly taken pictures to send to the law firm. So that's a second illegal eviction, because the main reason why I was contacting a legal aid law firm was because of this landlady that's been in contempt of court all this time. A retired hospital matron who thought she could just do as she likes because she's probably, she could be enjoying the sun in a. But as for a mocking review, and I'm going to keep reporting it to TripAdvisor until they remove it. But as for saying I'm in a heightened state, actually, I've been so drained, I'm drained of blood, drained of energy, that I just lay here. I just lay on the bed and every police officer that's in the country that's you know as Gary Waterman said, all the law firms need to be put every single law firm needs to be put under citizen's arrest. The police are everything's compromised. And there's the Paul Joseph Watson video about that poor young man that was no mention in the national news about this young white man who was murdered um, by a man who is allowed to carry a sword this long because of his culture, some maniac with a sword. And the police, as far as I'm concerned, they should be done for murder. I'd say I personally would say murder, but I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, rather than manslaughter, because they knowingly handcuffed this young man who had been stabbed, and apparently one of them said, "No, mate, you ain't been, I don't know, you ain't been stabbed," and they handcuffed him and he died. They decided to handcuff him and arrest him because he'd said hurty words to the murderer. Yes, yes, you're not safe in the UK, folks. None of you are safe. If you're not safe, think of your children, your grandchildren, their grandchildren. And as for Darren's friends in Eastbourne Library who are watching every video I make that says, "Someone please help me," but you don't do anything, what do? You go and tell Darren she's doxing you. I didn't even know what doxing meant. I've been trying to phone Darren, and I keep saying to him, because he knows this is very serious, to get evidence that he is not my carer. He wanted to be someone's carer before he was with me, and he made that very clear with what he told me. He's not well himself, so I said to him, Did you want to be my carer just to cover up your own mental health issues? Because clearly, someone who tells you they don't want you, they scream at you if you so much as touch anything or move anything, and they say, talk to me through the letterbox, that's not someone who is capable of being someone's carer. He said he took a caring role through Care for the Carers when he spoke to Caroline Ansell in the library. This is Eastbourne Library 10 years ago when she was the former MP, and he said it was suggested to him. Well, what made her think that Darren needed to be my carer? Surely being in a relationship with someone automatically means that they're your carer because they care about you. But I've had nothing but abuse. Darren was arrested, then I was arrested as well. What, me being locked out of my flat on news my father died by staff trained to deal with complex needs, locked out in my nightwear when I could soothe all these nutters. I mean, Eastbourne has always been a breeding ground for mental illness, but lunatics are literally running the asylums in this town. OCD, what I've got is the equivalent of what my sister has. She's identifying as a man, and I had a locum confirm that we needed trauma-based therapy. I knew it was to do with disassociation. I already knew all of that. I identify as a child. I'm told, but you're not a child. Yes, exactly. But if I say to my sister, you're not a man, I get arrested. I get threatened with prison, even though I hugged her. And it was her peculiar support worker that wasn't all there in the head, swearing at me. I hadn't seen my sister for years, and this woman, she should have kept this thing shut and let me speak to my sister. But this woman wants to make it all about her, this so-called support worker, when she should just shut her mouth and let two siblings speak to each other, because I was already in shock because I didn't know that my sister was disabled. I didn't know that she had an aneurysm. She was she said, you haven't read my messages on Facebook. We already weren't talking to each other after our mother died. I'd been trying to get a mediator all these years, but she said something very, very questionable when she said, I was your carer. Now, to use those words, for my sister to say, I was your carer, when, and she hasn't had any contact with Darren, who took this caring role that I didn't ask for. His father's confused. Then Darren is screaming at me to prosecute him in the landlady's house. Then he's saying he's afraid of going to prison. What's that going to do to my mind when I'm already dealing with all these nutters? There's been a smear campaign. Been libelled in the Herald. I could have sued the Herald. What's going on? And yet, all these people that are behind all of this, who've all got something to say, it's nothing to do with me. All those women in the Lib Dem office, it's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. So what's all this gossip, ladies? What's all this? Why were you all so incredibly rude to me, putting the phone down on me several times, lying to me, saying that the MP caseworker would phone me? And I've now had to go to Jodie. Oh, I've said her name, never mind. The nice supervisor at Citizens Advice Bureau. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. If any nutters out there start phoning up Citizens Advice Bureaus, It's all right because she's going to know anyway, because I've let them know in the voice messages that about this lunacy. So she's spoken to her manager because she's going to get her manager to contact the MP office. I mean, it's worse than dealing with children, worse. And this is just one of the reasons why I stopped doing care work. So, as for Dr. Singh saying to me, when was the last time you worked? I have never worked so damn hard in my life since I have been on sickness pay. Yes. Even when I took my mother's advice and I went to Over the Doorstep, which was a Christian cafe, and I've got to be very careful what I say because I'm going to go to back to the church where this woman comes from. But there's a funny woman who was showing me how to use the till. I've used many tills in my life now, but this was shortly after, not long after my mother died. If she was bullying an elderly woman who was cleaning the table, she just wouldn't leave the woman alone. And this poor old woman said, "Oh, will you leave me alone?" And then she whispered to me, "I don't like that woman." And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get up. I'm just trying to, I can't cope. I was in such a dark place. My mother had died. I was losing my mind. And now I was witnessing Christian women bullying each other. And yes, so I've seen every kind of narcissistic bullying. And this was an elderly woman who was being, I felt sorry for her. She's being bullied by the woman. So this was in 2009. Sorry, 2010. I was still, I don't know if it was before or after I took that serious overdose. But anyway, no. Oh, I've just seen an article about a woman a woman my age who's taken her own life. Gotta be careful because of YouTube. But she ordered a suicide kit through Royal Mail. Strange that because Barclays um, stopped me from. This is a very strange town. It's a very, very, very strange town. It was Barclays who told me that Eastbourne Barclays, where my bank is, they were the ones who told me that the council had sold. Stuart Leach at Eastbourne Borough Council had sold my storage, my garage storage that's full of a lot. It's full to the top of possessions. I mean, I could have sued the council and the police for so many reasons. There is so much corruption in this town. Just the drugs laundering is alone. But it goes on right in front of your faces. But it was it was someone in Barclays that had told me that my garage had been sold. Because I pay my, what do you call it, standing order thing. That, what do you call it? Is it a standing order that you pay every month, whatever, for the storage? And they were the ones that told me that it had been sold, and that the thing had been cancelled. Just unbelievable. And then there was that lovely German lady who contacted adult social care for me. This is a woman who works in Barclays, who was more bloody concerned about me. This is the corporate entity, Barclays, was more concerned about me than bloody adult social care. Because of do you remember that idiot that you saw at Lilybank Homes? What was his name? John, who was practically running away from me. And I was, rather embarrassingly, but obviously I was distressed because I was in that place with drunks and weirdos. 5 days after I had a threat, a common assault, a threat of a punch in the face, the police were sexually assaulting me. PC Mufali and PC Howard May EB334. They exposed my breasts, and then a threat of being a political prisoner much later on, because if I leave a card and flowers for my sister, who didn't have a problem with me hugging her, didn't tell me to get off her. She said she'd get a mediator, which is something I've been trying to do since 2009, since our mother died. But now they've gone through my father's things without me. So what I'm trying to say is Barclays have been involved in a lot of my personal business, and they've actually been very helpful. There's a lovely German lady in there who contacted that idiot John when they locked me out of Ceylon Place. Why did I scream and yell? Um, because of some valuable possessions that they had of mine, again, valuable possessions in the psychiatric hellhole that I didn't want them to dispose of. And I'd spoken to Brian. Brian is a guy who I think he's called Brian. I've got met a lot of very interesting people. He was back in the day. He was mates with. He was friends with Nicholas Lyndhurst. And used to go to the pub with Nicholas Lyndhurst. And my father, around the same time in the early 80s, my father used to serve David Jason. So, and one night I was sat shaking and crying, speaking to Brian, and he called the police. The police are useless, of course. But the problem is, right? No offense to Brian, I showed him photographs of what the police had done to me on several occasions, the bruises, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Bryony." Yeah, but they went on to do much worse later on, though. So I really enjoyed his chatting to him about how back in the late 70s, early 80s, he basically said Nicholas Lyndhurst really was on the funny fags, and he could be a bit of a plonker in the pub. Um, and he's got a daughter that was born on exactly the same day as Darren's sister. Is it 28th of February 1983? So that's 1 year after me. I was born in March 82. Yeah, no, I've met some really interesting people. I was talking to you about Dave Prowse, and he said he met the Star Wars characters in the late 70s in London when he was working in a model shop. So, yeah, because Dave Prowse used to ring me up. But yeah, no, I've met some very interesting people. But and I've met a lot of idiots, and I've attracted idiots just by telling the truth, just by being extremely vulnerable. And it would turn out my mother was right. There's a lot of jealousy in this country. And I've at my age, I'm only just finding out. But my mother travelled the world, and yet she got me travelling a little bit in and out of Europe. So I've seen a bit, not a lot, but I've seen quite a bit. But I'm still extremely naive about people. And my godmother said I only see the good in people. Wow. I don't know. But one thing I know is that if you're afraid of death, if you're afraid of death, you think there could just be a possibility because you have a guilty conscience. Because my conscience has always been clear. What you see now is what has always been there right from the start. Only tell the truth. Yes, I did do some naughty things for a laugh. Uh, but all children do that. Um, Nothing really, really, really bad. But, you know, perhaps I did tell you know, a little white lie, a little white porcupine. But nothing really that I would ever, you know. Anyway, I just I just want my partner to, take this really seriously, because this caring role nonsense. I just want this all done. I've just had my life destroyed. At the end of the day, he's in his 50s. He's still got two parents. I have had abuse from his friends. And there's no excuse. I've said this many times. Anxiety. There's no diagnosis that makes it okay to abuse another person. I've said it and I'll say it before. Say it again. Bronya, right? She cared for people with very, very severe disabilities, like mentally handicapped. I don't know what the politically correct word is now, but severe, very severe handicap impairments. And she still took no nonsense. You know, she was in there was a man who used to cover himself in his own feces for whatever reason, and as a dirty protest, as part of his mental impairment, uh, he wouldn't wait for my sister to come out of the toilet, and he defecated on the carpet, and she got into trouble for telling him, giving a proper telling off. I actually think she was right to do that, because they say that even people who have severe impairments, they know when to push the boundary. They know when to um they still have the capacity to know when they're doing something. Even someone who's brain damaged will know when they're, obviously I'm not an expert in this field, but they know when they're pushing things. Yeah. You have to have boundaries. You have to have healthy boundaries. So the fact that Darren's friend, texted me that I was a stupid idiot and called me a liar for something that's very, very serious is to do with my partner being arrested in his friend's flat over a set of keys. That's seen as controlling behaviour. And this is a friend of his who wrote a letter to my local MP about me using an AI app or something. I don't know. That's what Darren told me. I don't know. Artificial intelligence. I don't know. I don't have a smartphone. I don't. But it was very professionally written. But he didn't even ask for my permission to write the letter, and it was about me. It was an email letter saying that I seriously need help. And I'm like, well, in what context is he, putting this email? Is he subtly trying to make me look like I'm a head case? Because that seems to be the general uh, consensus that's gone out there, isn't it? That I'm a head case. Oh shit, are you schizophrenic? Oh, arrest her. Uh, I'm gonna effing punch you in the face. I'm talking about council accommodations here, where the police have gone after me. I mean, they literally held me, these two perverts, and whilst exposing my breasts as a rape victim in front of Darren, and Darren's being all, oh, softy, softy, softy with the police. I mean, he screams and shouts at me, but the police are sexually assaulting me in front of Darren, and he's like, I think you're being a little bit heavy-handed, and these two little perverts were saying, Darren, back off. Darren, back off. That's what PC pervert, PC Howard May, EB334, who's gone on to assault me again. All because a miserable old man who threw his toys out of the pram. I've never seen him behave like this before. He had my parcel and he didn't want to give it to me because I didn't have the code. You see, it's like children in a playground. These are adult, grown up. Well, I say grown up. The adult narcissist never grows up. They get worse with age. And the more of the Chinese whispers, the more of the smear campaigns, the more of this and that. So I really want to know why the hell Darren is not taking this seriously, because he hasn't come down here. Why his friends in the library think it's all right to, you know, see me in distress on my YouTube, but say to Darren, oh, you're part of the problem. Whoever you are in Eastbourne Library, Darren's friend, you're part of the problem. Darren's friends have also got to take it seriously, because the more they abuse me, they've already abused me. Eben is a lawyer. She's a Christian. She's supposed to be a Christian. She apparently her father was a top lawyer in Lagos in Nigeria. Why did she threaten to dispose of my possessions after I fixed her washing machine? I cleaned out the filter, cleaned out the mold, got it working again, left a big bouquet of flowers and a card for her, thanking her for letting me to stay in her flat, which is something I shouldn't have had to do because of the crimes by the council. She then leaves a letter at reception at SDR Living, which Mr. Joe Holden, who's a corrupt lawyer, was going to help me make a subsequent civil claim against them for locking me out of that flat on news my father died. So bearing in mind, she's a lawyer, she's threatening to dispose of my things, she's supposed to be a Christian. Juliet Rawson, who's now dead, she's deceased, she died from cancer. Her email to Caroline Ansell was ignored. I've still got the email where she witnessed me being attacked by convicted criminals and drunks and goodness knows what at 12 Belmore Road. She went to speak to Eben on my behalf, which is why I'm a little bit embarrassed about that video where, and I have to say I did it deliberately because of course I was going out of my mind. I was in her flat. I was saying, Juliet, what is going on here? What is going on? I was saying, the thing about the key. I was talking to the camera and I was going, why is this key like this key? And I tell you what, I did it deliberately and it worked. And I tell you why. I was fully aware that I looked and sounded crazy talking on my YouTube channel going, Juliet, this key looks like this key. Why are you and Eben, you've got the same keys? And I knew it sounded crazy. And I did it to get a response because she was behaving very strangely. I know she had cancer and she's now deceased. She was only in her 40s, but she, regardless of whether she had cancer or not, she wasn't answering questions, very serious questions, because she told me not to speak to her neighbours. Now, she too had told me, Charlie's not sensitive. I too have had a problem with Charlie. Charlie had bullied me at Eastbourne People's Assembly in front of all those weird people. Someone with autism, and they're all like screaming. weird people just screaming and shouting. Uh, Now I wouldn't usually use words like weird people, but welcome to Eastbourne. It's everywhere. There was no need for it. I actually was quite fond of Charlie at one time until he started behaving like this, and now it's become, covert narcissistic bullying. This is not what Yeshua wants. So if Darren has been seeing some woman on Facebook just because she uses the name Yahweh, well, she's just going to get the same treatment as me, then, isn't she? Because I'm at that point now where I'm like, go ahead, you use the name Yahweh. It is our Heavenly Father's true name. Yes, it is. Of course. Yod, hey, war, hey, Darren's right. But I had one of Darren's other funny friends who'd also behaved like his other Christian friends, like all this narcissistic, you know, saying to me, "Oh, you're the one who took Darren to the name of Yahweh." No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Before Darren came along, I knew a Jehovah's Witness. Someone got me saying the name Jehovah, which actually means Master of Mischief, which is what Darren told me. So, no, Darren's the expert on the Hebrew Aramaic scriptures. He's the one doing the research. But they've all treated me badly. And it's about time people started telling the truth, because I'll tell you what, Gary Waterman, and if I was still into astrology, I'd be saying, because I renounced the occult, because astrology is the occult, it's secret knowledge, which is witchcraft. It's all satanic, and I should know because I was into it. I'll tell you what, if I was talking about Gary Waterman 10 years ago, I'd be saying, oh, he's a Scorpio. We're so compatible. Late October, same as Michael Landon. But no, because we're so compatible. You're the most compatible signs in the zodiac, apart from me and Darren. But no, I've renounced all of that. Um, I say I've renounced it; it never goes away. But Abba Yahweh's taken care of that. Uh, but yeah, when you've been heavily into astrology for decades, since the age of 11, and you've read Illuminati books on it, it's not good. I can tell you that. My mother, of course, we've got an ego thing. We've all got an ego. My mother used to say, Brian, he's the one to go to for astrology. Yeah, but seriously, Gary Waterman, he's got the paper trail. So I was going to make a video with the title saying, please support Gary Waterman. It's not funny, it's deadly serious. But I've come on here to get on my soapbox. I've just come on here to get on my soapbox. I say my soapbox. This is not funny. It's not funny, but I have to smile because there are people out there who would like nothing more than to see me have a meltdown. But I literally have been out of it. Look at all those bin bags over there. The host of this hotel, B&B, have taken pictures because there's damage to my possessions. So, this has been going on for 10 years. Now, the problem is, Darren keeps saying to me, I'm just going to keep saying Gary. Every time something happens, Bryony, I'm going to say Gary. It reminds me of that episode of Only Fools and Horses where they have the illegal immigrant. Gary? Gary? Because Boise's calling him Gary. Gary? Oh, Gary. And he goes, Gary, Gary, Gary. Gary. No, but you can't keep saying that everything that's happening to me is because of Gary Waterman. No, it's not.
All these things are happening to me because they're happening to me. Yes, Gary Waterman has got the paper trail. He's an ex-police officer. He's brilliant. We all need to support him because he's got it all. But but Darren, it's no good. And that what makes me angry is that you've got to take this seriously. You and your friends have got to take responsibility for themselves. And these Wally brains who are watching me in the library. I mean, it actually makes me quite sick that you know people in the library who are who have said to you, "Oh, Bryony's saying this about you." Do you think I'm enjoying this? It's 1:22 a.m. in the morning. I have not had one day just to relax, literally to go out there and enjoy the weather, to enjoy the sunshine because of all of this. I've got to email, right? My laptop is actually broken. I've just spoken to Know How and it needs to be sent away for repairs. I can't get into my file explorer. So that's going to delay things even more. So, two illegal evictions, people patting me on the back. What, like Graham? Oh dear. Oh, never mind. His daughter is a lot younger than me. She's living it up by the sounds of it. She's got a nice life. Um, where's she living? She's living in the Netherlands, is she? She sounds very talented. Makes she knits certain type of jumper. I don't know. Uh, Aaron, I don't know, a certain type of. And she just had a baby. She's married and had a baby, and she's got a nice life out there in the Netherlands. Even though the Netherlands will go, well, everywhere in Europe has got its problems now. But here I am at my age. I'm. Don't be fooled by what you see. I'm getting on my soapbox and I'm drained. I said this would be a short video, and again, it's going on and on and on and on. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't care. If you want to listen to me, listen to me. You don't want to listen, switch it off. I watch people and I think, oh, I don't want to. So what? So what? This is about me. This is me talking about my life, my struggles. I can't get hold of Darren. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated. He he just does not understand that he is very, very blessed to have two parents that are still alive while he's in his late 50s. He said, "Oh, he's making excuses." Yes, but just because they're still alive, it doesn't mean that. Hang on a minute, Darren. When they're gone, you won't be saying that. Oh, just because they're still alive, it doesn't mean that I'm getting on with I'm getting on with them or anything like that. Yeah. Oh, really? Really? Well, at least they're still alive. He doesn't appreciate the fact that his parents are still alive. And I tell you what, when they're gone, when they're gone and he's got nobody to turn to, or maybe he can turn to his siblings, but he's still got a family that are alive, that are around, that love him. And I'm very worried about I haven't found out how my father died. I hadn't seen him for 30 years anyway. I've got no one to turn to. I'm worried about my middle sister. If she's critically ill and I'm being threatened with prison if I leave a card and flowers for her. And he behaved very strangely about that, very worryingly. And he said he was afraid of going to prison. Now, this is not fair. This isn't right. But if he can't even say to his friends, well, I did do X, Y, Z, and I shouldn't have treated Bryony like that. I shouldn't have made her sleep rough. I've got a problem. Now, if he can't admit to his problem, but he took a caring role, why did he take the caring role? Because he thought it would generate more care for me. Well, it hasn't, has it? I've had nothing but physical, mental abuse and crimes against humanity. You know, this is not a walk in the park. This is bloody serious. I mean, people in this country have always been a joke by what my mother said, but by the sounds of it. But oh god, so yeah, so this is very serious because I've got I could have got a child to help me. I could have got a child to help me with the things that I was asking for help with. But there are people trained in those areas because they make TV programs about it. It's not just clutter. This is where stupid people, well, there's stupid people everywhere. They make TV programs about it. People the young and the elderly both have, people of all ages have this problem. OCD, bereavement. It's not just hoarding, it's not just clutter, it's needing help. Okay? For someone who was obsessively clean and tidy and had everything just so as a child and an adult, who kept their bed and their bedroom pristine and clean and tidy, and then the mother died. She sold the house. Then she died. And she wasn't just my mother, she was my soulmate. And even her best friend said that. There's a 44-year age gap between me and my late mother. But we weren't just mother and daughter, we were like that. We were so close that even her best friend said we were soulmates. And her best friend is 91 now, I think. Yes. So yes. And I just don't have anyone else to help me with this. So I would just very much appreciate that those people who've been watching me, you know, take into account just I'm just so appalled and disgusted that people can actually know about my YouTube channel, watch. Oh yeah, a lot of people like you, Bryony. Yeah, of course they do, because I'm always polite. I was brought up with etiquette. My mother had a privileged upbringing during the war, and I've never known so much rudeness, so much abuse from people who are paid to serve and protect me, the constituent. Threats of police, threats, threats, threats. Oh, she's far right. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. Utter, utter nonsense. So I don't whether Susie will watch all of this. It's if it I have to it feels I'll have to be honest with you. It feels very very strange making a YouTube channel, a YouTube video, because it's like it's not like you're looking at someone and talking to them. You're aware that there's a screen and it's going to project you out there, and you don't know what you're going to attract. And I know I don't want to be a hypocrite. I know I said I wouldn't say which hotel it was, but I deliberately said which hotel it was because obviously I was angry and disgusted at how they've abused me like this. So now they've gone and done what they've gone and done. It's very strange that they asked Darren for the key. They asked, I think they're playing, you see, I think they're playing games with Darren because they said, we want the key. They were texting me saying, we want the key back. I said, and this is where their text messages have again mysteriously disappeared. And the supervisor at Citizens Advice Bureau thinks that's very strange. That firstly, that a hotel doesn't have a landline, but not only that, the Seashell Hotel, their text messages disappeared. I said, why do you want the key when you change the lock? Hassan, the owner, and a teenage boy were laughing when they changed the lock so that when I went to put the key back in the door to lock it, I couldn't get back in. And I reported all of this to adult social care because I squeezed past them while they were doing changing the lock, and they were laughing. They'd taken the mattress. They took the mattress, the TV, the kettle, the microwave. And why would you take those things if you've switched the electrics off, which is criminal? That's what a lawyer told me. Why would you do that? Why would you take those things out of the room when you know the occupant won't be able to use them because you've switched off the electrics? But this is what that fat Walid who said he likes playing games, the one who made those disgusting comments to me and did this to my cheek. Sex is good. And maybe he feels something. Talking about the boy that the hotel guest that touched my bottom. Maybe he feels something. Um, yeah, yeah. He said that we like playing. I like playing games. They all like playing games. So I think they've kept their text conversation and deleted the text messages that they sent me because it's mysteriously disappeared from my phone. We want the key. I said, why do you want the key when you've changed the locks? When you change the lock, but um, you give us the key, or we're taking your stuff to the tip. It's all illegal. All illegal. They've damaged my things, so I'm not in a heightened state. I'm actually been drained, just lying here, traumatized, exhausted, loss of blood. So there we go. I said it would be a quick video. It's not quick. Sod it. Yhwh, forgive me for my language. So this is what, Darren is always saying to me, always saying, pray to Yhwh, Yah Shalom. And I'm not mocking Darren, by the way. He's always saying, pray to Yhwh, pray to Yhwh. He gets very, very angry. I can't understand why I went to his flat and he was almost shouting in my face leading up to this. Do you think it's strange? Do you think it's strange? How can I see the wood through the trees though? Because the guy that delivered my food again today, I've had to have two food deliveries because I'm so ill. He said to me it does happen a lot in the hotels. And I've already had someone else say that to me. I've had someone else say to me it does. Alan, whose father was a high-ranking Freemason interceptor for Princess Margaret. He said it happens. There's a lot that happens in the hotel, so there's probably a lot that I don't see. You think you hear everything, but you don't. So there'll be a lot of people out there that don't hear about me. But the guy that brought me my food said, Shh, be careful what you're saying because of ears. And that's what Darren says to me. He says, just be careful because I've got a big mouth on me, you see. So I knew that when I said the hotel name that someone would go and post a review because of what I just said about TripAdvisor. So when someone's going to do something. Now I've just got to keep my big mouth shut. So anyway, there we go. There we go. So don't be fooled by what you see. I mean, I've said to people, if you ever see me, I said to my hairdresser, if you ever see me in this lovely Albanian lady, she's lovely. She said, come and have a coffee with me anytime you just come and chat in here. I don't want to take advantage though, make it awkward. But she's she because I said to her, I said, I don't know what abuse I'm going to go back to. And she's like, uh, she's so lovely. She's so lovely. She said, "Can I take your hair with me to a wedding in America? I want your hair." I said, well, it's thanks to you. I said, she's a lovely lady. She's got Albanian family friends in America, and she said they do big weddings. Here I am dealing with all this shit. Um, oh God, but yeah, no, but it's very difficult when you're on your own and you just got no one to turn to. But it is common. It is common. Um, it's just difficult to see the wood through the trees. But at the end of the day, people have got to tell the damn truth. So like Paul Thorpe, tell the damn truth. Anyway, so I've just never known so much evil. I just can't believe people could be so evil. Um, yeah, so you're a lovely lady. You pay your rent on time. I'll give you a good what do you call it, review, a good what do you call it, a reference. Anyway, I've texted this very nice guy. He's a Middle Eastern guy and he's a nice guy. Well, he's gonna give me the best room in his place, and it will be a lot cheaper. It'll be, a room rate, so between 600-700 every 4 weeks, with cooking facilities, because I've got no cooking facilities, and the bloody toilet here is blocked. Now, I don't want to be rude about the host here, but I'm paying £250 a week here for a special deal, but I've got no cooking facilities. So, and I had diarrhea. Well, I don't want to be graphic, not tummy problem. Because when you're not eating, when you haven't got these facilities, so this is where the council should help. And I just don't trust house shares or anybody. I just don't. You can't trust anyone anymore. Anyway, I'm thinking of going to this. I'll look out for that man who's in the market, who's literally exposing the Illuminati in Illuminati by the Sea. I mean, he's got the pyramid, he's got the picture of Aleister Crowley, a great big poster in a town that's got a stronghold for Freemasonry. It's very brave. I want to chat to him again and tell him what's happened. And what else? And what else was I going to say? Say something else. And I go to this church because whilst they're not using the name of Yahweh and it is pagan, the church is pagan, uses all of that. At the end of the day, if Darren and his friends are using the name of Yahweh, but they're not showing me love. Love is a verb. I need to see some action. So it's very infuriating. I did go to King's Church, but that woman never got back to me, which is ironic. It is ironic. Everything's ironic because Charlie had walked out of that church years ago, telling me that he walked out, none of them helped him. And he said he felt closer to a Heavenly Father in nature, which I've been through that many times. But then he's abusive to me in text. And then I feel the need to go to that church because I've been advised that they're good at helping people. But I never heard back from that woman, so I'm thinking of going to another church that I went to years ago after my mother died. And yeah, anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, that's a whole hour of ranting and getting things off my chest. So, Darren, if you hear about this, please understand, wow, just, you haven't even phoned me. You keep saying, I'll come down and see you. You just keep leaving me, and it's like suddenly you're the one that's always struggling, as if you're the one that's going through this. It really infuriates me because he has no problem shouting and getting angry at me, but to the people that are committing the crimes against me, he's all gentle and mousy. And he even shook hands with the guy that sexually harassed me. Why he didn't just say, "Thank you so much for sexually harassing my partner, and now committing crimes against me." Well, illegal eviction. A lawyer has said there's been criminal activity. The guy who gave me my food said the police can't be bothered because it's all extra paperwork. But he too has been there. He said that he had someone from the council. He used to have his carpets professionally cleaned. He spent money on doors being replaced, and someone came out from the council. Oh yeah, they get paid like 30 grand a year to say this is dirty. This I was in that awful supported accommodation hellhole when my mother was dying. The social worker landlord, apparently he died of cancer, but he got a good pension out of it. Someone from the council coming round saying, "Oh, I could only open the window." They wanted, it was a sash, Victorian sash window. I used to be able to open it wide, and this woman from the count, I think it was a woman, said, "Oh, this is a health and safety. We've got to make the windows open so that they can open that far." You've got bloody world famous suicide spot up the road. Oh, but in case one of us lobs ourselves out of the window, of course it's not going to look good for Eastbourne Borough Council. So that's what they're getting paid for. That's what your taxpayers' money's going on. And why I spend all my time washing up, doing what do you call it? God, I spend all my time doing the collecting, washing up and cleaning um what do you call it? Recycling for the green bins. I wash up all my rubbish. I spend all my time doing that. Social worker landlord, he was dirty. He just threw a dirty used jar in the green bin, and I said, "You're supposed to wash that up." This was years ago. This is when my mother was dying of cancer. "Oh no, they'll do that for you." I told my mother, and she said no, they'd like it if you washed it up before you put it in the bin. Now Darren's got me in, obsessively doing recycling when I've actually got more important things to think about, like my antiques, like my gold ring that was in the supported flat when my mother was dying, my gold ring that I can never be out without, that heirloom that's over 100 years old. Because I could sue SDR Living and the council that used to be the Linwood Saffron, and Andy Camfield, the Lansdowne hotel manager who intervened, and now he's in prison serving 7 years for defrauding my eldest sister's friend who was on the local ITV news, a woman called Louise. And now the Lansdowne hotel don't want me going there. Mysteriously don't want me going in there. That funny I don't know. But no, Darren's got nothing to do with this, has he? And he's got nothing to do with why I had to report warming up the homeless to the Charity Commission. He's got nothing to do with that, has he? No, got nothing to do with that. So Darren's got nothing to do with this, has he? Saying things about me, because the whole reason why I set up this YouTube channel was to document the abuse that I was suffering. And then the more I documented it, the more things happened. So please, people, take it seriously. This is not for entertainment. This is me putting the truth out there. Because this is about adult abuse. Yes, me. You are looking at the YouTuber who is a victim of the adult abuse. And every time I upload a YouTube video, suddenly it says to me, are you sure you want to post this? Are you sure you want to post this on YouTube because of your content? That wasn't happening before. So it's very, very serious. If you know that someone out there is going around saying disparaging things about me, extremely detrimental things. Now, obviously, everyone's entitled to say the hell what they like. We all have free speech, don't we? Well, I thought we did anyway. Except for me, of course. I hug my sister. I love her. I haven't seen her for years, but I don't call her a man. And if I leave a card and flowers for her, I'll go to prison. Well, apart from that kind of free speech, if you know that someone is going around saying detrimental things about me when I have cried out for help, because this is very, 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 very serious. That is the whole reason why I've posted this and why I've been crying out for help. And why I need Darren and his friends to stop abusing me and tell me the truth. Because I talk about this to Darren all the time. So I'm going to leave it at that. And yes, Yhwh is still our Heavenly Father's true name. Darren is right. But having said that, I want the truth and everything that I've been asking for help with, because I need a lot of help to put right. Everything where I ask for help is where crimes have been committed, where I have been bullied, abused, and exploited. Thank you.